and welcome to Fuse Dashboard Training. Today we are going to cover the Fuse automation system. We are going to cover most every feature available to you on the Fuse dashboard. And I'll cover those at a fairly high level, but we will cover most of everything during this training today. Specifically, though, we will cover the basics of the Fuse dashboard, walk through some of the automations behind Fuse, and I will pass along some best practices along the way. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. And we are going to spend the majority of our time today looking over the main menu on the left-hand side of your Fuse account. We're going to start off with the dashboard section, and you'll see that there are several dashboards here that you can utilize. The first one here, which acts as your home screen. This is the screen that you should be seeing when you log into Fuse most of the time. And we call this the client engagement dashboard. And it gives you a quick overview of some key metrics to show you how your clients are currently engaging with the communications coming from your Fuse account. So let me point out a few. Number one, we have this one right here, which is what we call the engagement score. So this is an Agency Revolution metric. And it is developed by Agency Revolution and is a score that measures the quality and the quantity of your communications relative to your active customers. And that's important because we want to make sure that clients are engaging with your communication. Remember, at the heart of it, Fuse is a customer retention tool. Customers are retained because you are engaging with them. So the more engagement, the better. So the score is essentially looking at how many emails per year you are sending out to your active customers, and the score is based on that. So for example, a score of 1 means that you are sending one communication per active customer per year. And so a good, healthy engagement score is going to be closer to 2, certainly 1.5 to 2. Which means, again, you're closer to sending about 2 communications per year per customer. And we're always going to lean more on the side of sending a little bit more than less. Remember, just because you have 10 campaigns launched doesn't mean that you have 10 emails going out for every customer, right? 10 campaigns launched could still mean you're only sending 4 or 5 emails per year, which is not engaging customers nearly enough. Now, over on the right-hand side, you'll see where you can see the open rates for your customers. And you should see an open rate somewhere around this range. So we definitely hope that you're going to see somewhere in the neighborhood of a 40 to 50% open rate for your customers. That is well above industry average. Most customers of Fuse don't have an issue with that. But if you're looking for a recommendation, a good benchmark to sort of aim for is 40%. All right, if you're hovering below 40% or anything around there, just let us know. Maybe we can make some recommendations for you. Maybe you're just not sending out or you don't have enough going on. If you're using the outbox, you'll see the messages within the outbox there, but I will cover outbox here in a few minutes later on in the training. This is an important one, the accounts with emails. All right, how many accounts do you have within Fuse that you can email? Right. So again, you're probably looking for some recommendation. And we say somewhere in the neighborhood of between 75 and 80% is usually what you're aiming for. And most people don't have an issue with that. But again, if you have less than that, then there are definitely people within your database that aren't taking advantage of the great communications coming from Fuse. And let us know if that's the case, because there are some ways that you can use the automation system within Fuse to try and get more email addresses from your customers. We have an internal campaign that we can easily recommend that can be turned on and can notify your staff when email addresses come through that cannot be emailed. Just a side note, most people think of Fuse as an external program where we're sending external emails to your customers, but you can use it equally on the internal side, meaning can you set up automations or can you use Fuse in a way where you're alerting your own staff through processes or different initiatives to try and use the automation to best serve your customers that way. So again, external, internal, you can use Fuse for both. And then it will show you here on the chart how many emails per month you're actually sending, and this goes in a 5-month window there. And then it just gives you some basic activity and campaign trends. What are your most popular messages? What are the recent activities? Things like that. So this one's pretty straightforward. And again, gives you a quick snapshot into how your customers are actually engaging in your communications. The next dashboard is what we call the Business Insights dashboard, and this is definitely high level data coming over from your management system. Much bigger numbers here, right? So we're talking about overall accounts, policies per client, overall premium, that sort of thing. While it's nice to have this information here, certainly, most of the time it's not directly affecting the automation being sent from your account. And you might have access to similar information in your management system. But again, just kind of nice to have here for sure. I'll cover the NPS dashboard a little bit later. And then we've got our marketing analytics. Really, really important, great feature, especially if you're newer, just kind of wanting to feel out how to track specific campaigns or the progress of specific marketing goals. So you can come into the marketing analytics feature. You can actually filter out by the type of message. Is it a campaign or a broadcast? You can choose specific dates, whether you want to present monthly, quarterly data there. And more important, everything is exportable. So if you are reporting this to higher ups or just want to compile the data in an easier way, you can go to any campaign, any time frame, click the export button and export that to a CSV file. So again, if you're newer, if you're just trying to get a good feeling for how specific campaigns are looking, pop in here and take a look at the analytics. Remember, you can have a 40% open rate overall, but very likely you have some campaigns that are really doing great and others that aren't performing to your expectations. So it's good to feel it out here. Hopefully all your campaigns are performing really nicely though. All right, we are going to shift gears. We're going to talk about your accounts section here. And this is where all your accounts are coming over from your management system. So we integrate with several different management systems here, and you should have a complete and thoroughly updated list of accounts that mirrors what you have in your management system here. So the name of the game here is what we call segmenting, and that's a really powerful tool, and Fuse goes above and beyond in terms of how you're able to segment and what data you are actually able to segment. And that's what you're really doing here is you're taking your existing accounts and you are applying different data fields to try to get a list or a targeted list of accounts just kind of filtered down to meet your marketing goals. All right. So this is where I'm going to pull up our AI tool. And before I do that, I want to get you in a different mindset. Normally we look at AI and we say, okay, this is just a tool for answering basic questions. But I want you to think a little bit beyond that with our tool here. So down on the bottom right, you're going to see this little colorful disc. It looks like a laser disc to me, but that just shows how old I am. But you can click here, and this is what we call our Sidekick AI assistant. All right. Now, I want you to think about our Sidekick assistant as more than just a tool for getting answers to your questions. It's here to help you see the bigger picture and make smarter decisions. Using Sidekick, you can explore new strategies for your marketing plans and get tailored recommendations to fit those goals. In other words, think bigger picture with our Sidekick tool. Don't know where to start? Ask Sidekick. Looking for recommendations? Ask Sidekick. Looking for just overall marketing tips and hey, need help setting up a marketing game plan? Ask Sidekick. But one of the really neat features of Sidekick, and the reason I'm bringing it up here in this account section, is that Sidekick, believe it or not, can actually help you segment your accounts directly, meaning it's actually looking at your data and making decisions based on the data that it sees. So in real time, you can work with our Sidekick tool and create active segments for your automation. Let me go ahead and give a quick demonstration here. So I've pulled up Sidekick, and I'm going to ask it to create a basic segment that really looks at specific policy and carrier types. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to ask it, please. I'm so polite when I talk to Sidekick. Hopefully you are too, but please create a segment for all active personal accounts who have homeowners policies with travelers. All right, so I've given it a few pieces of criteria there. I've said create a segment for active personal with a specific policy type homeowners that are with a specific carrier travelers. Okay, I'm going to submit that. It's going to ask me if I want to use the segmenting tool. I'm going to say yes. All right. So it's going to generate a preview for me. And if it comes up with any questions or if it has any further considerations or recommendations on the best approach, it will actually start working with you regarding this, which is really one of the cooler things about it. All right, so it's generated the specific data fields from my management system. It's asking me to generate a preview. I'll say yes. All right, and here is the segment. If you are comfortable with the preview, if it looks like it matches the data, you can actually ask it to create the segment. I'm going to say yes, create the segment. And we're going to go take a look at the segment. And here it is. So you can see here that the policy is one of travelers, is active personal homeowners. It's taken all of those it's taken all the specific data that I've added into that segment, created that segment for you. In this case, it doesn't look like there was anyone that matches that segment, but I think it proves the purpose of the segment builder. And if you have any questions about it, just let us know. Now, going back to the account section really fast, considering we have many relationships with many different AMSs, it's usually just a good idea to get familiar with what data is available to you. Again, this is something you can use a Sidekick assistant to do if you'd like, but a lot of times, especially for newer customers who are just getting their feet wet with Fuse and just looking for ideas, you can always go into the segment builder yourself, and then look at the specific data fields that are available. So what I'd recommend doing is clicking that gold button that says add segment. We're going to click then the advanced button, and then it's going to give you the 4 categories where the data lives. Depending on your management system, this might be 3 because some of our management systems don't bring over claims, but most of you will see account, policy, and then foreign data as well. And anyone who uses management systems regularly will sort of understand this hierarchy a little bit. You'll know that some data lives at the customer or the account level, some data lives at the policy level. But once you kind of go into these sections, you'll just basically see a big long list of all the individual data fields that are available to you. So in short, if it's on this list, that means you can use it for segmenting and should use it. What I always like to point out to folks is the policy level. So if you go into the policy category and then just take a look at all of the things that you can use to filter by policy when creating segments. This is what really sets us apart here at Agency Revolution. Most of our competition doesn't come close to be able to doing this or offer this kind of functionality. And so just take a look at some of the things you can actually use here to target your audience. You might be pleasantly surprised. All right, with that said, let's pop over and talk about our content library. Okay, so oftentimes we will get questions from customers, hey, what more can I be doing? Or what are other agencies doing? Can you take a look at my campaigns? Is there something there that I'm not using? And a lot of times we'll send them over to the content library. Because you can take a look at the campaigns that are available here, and I guarantee you if it's on this list, it means that other agencies are actively using it and taking great value from it. So when you're in the content library, you can actually click on either of the two campaign options. We have quick start campaigns and we have custom campaigns, and I'll explain the difference here in a moment. But you can just start scrolling down and looking at all the available options. Each category has a little menu carousel that you can go through and select multiple options. But you can see here, we break it down by account review, renewal, account rounding or cross-selling, claims if you have that available, forms, holidays, birthdays, new customers, lost customers. So all sorts of things that you should be doing. And again, if it's on this list, it is definitely something that we would easily recommend. So let's break down the difference here with campaigns, and this would be a very good segue into sort of talking about our marketing automation. And campaigns are the essential component of that. So first of all, just so we're on the same page, what is a campaign and how are we using that word? Campaign in our world is automation. So if you want something to go out, set it and forget it, you'll need a campaign to do that, and that's what campaigns are set up to do. You can send out emails in a one-time fashion. Those are called broadcasts, and I'll circle back and show you those here in a few moments. But in the campaign world, we have two different types of campaigns. We have what we call quick start campaigns, which are turnkey. Those are literal set it and forget it campaigns. Hey, I don't have a lot of time to customize. I just want something to be turned on so I can walk away and service my insurance customers. Perfect. If that's what you're looking for, quick start campaigns are for you, and that's what they're designed to do. Can't really customize them, turn them on, let them do its thing. But on the custom campaign side, this gives you the freedom and the flexibility to add further customization to the automated campaigns. And if you were to ask me, what do I recommend? I will always say to customize a campaign. It just gives you a level of freedom, and it's not terribly complicated to do it. So let's go ahead and take a look at an example together. I'll show you how to customize it, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the functionality of the automation itself. All right, so what would be a good one to show you? I usually like to show this one right here, account review. It's a personal for personal customers. It's at the tippy top of my list, by the way. If you could only have one campaign, this is always the one that I recommend. So I'm going to click the customize button, and that will add it to your drafts within your account, again, giving you the ability to fully customize it if you'd like to. So once it's added, I'll show you the various ways that you can customize this. Okay. So first of all, before we talk too much about customization, let me just kind of break down what we're looking at here so you have a good idea of what is actually in a campaign and what makes up a campaign. So really there's three different areas to sort of look at with any campaign. Number one is, who is it targeting? Now we've actually already covered that within our account section. So in most instances, you likely will already have an idea of the audience that you're looking to target. In this case, it's pretty basic. We're going to target active personal customers. Then we're going to talk about the timing, and I'll circle back and talk to you about this, but that's really what this section is all about. And here is the actual communications that are being sent, and that will give you a broad range of customization options to use here. So first of all, you'll notice the two different icons here. We have this sort of fluorescent green chat icon and then the purple envelope. So those are how we designate a text communication versus an email communication. Texting is an add-on, and if you're subscribed to it, you likely already know that, but you cannot send text from Fuse unless you are a subscriber to our business texting platform. So just for clarity, I'm just going to go ahead and delete this text message from this campaign, and we'll just stick to emails for today. So the purple envelope, that means you have emails, and you can just add emails to any campaign, add as many of them as you'd like. But in this case, this campaign comes with 2 emails. Over on the right-hand side, you can click the little pencil icon, which is the universal icon, of course, for editing. And you can see here that that pulls up the email and it gives you a full range to make edits. That includes editing the content directly, but you can actually pull over any of these editing components and add further customization to the email. So let's say you wanted to add an image. In this case, I want to add my old headshot from 15 years ago when I used to have hair. And you can see here that you can add as many images as you want. You could play around with the size if you want. But again, the more the better when it comes to customizing with images. Certainly if it's a newsletter or something like that, highly recommended. You can add buttons. You can see here there's a button in this, but if you wanted to add, a second button, maybe you want to add it up here, perfect. Give it a title, give it a URL, especially in emails where there's a call to action. Let's say you want someone to click on a form, you want someone to visit a specific website, you're cross-selling life insurance, you want to get people over to your life insurance page on your website. Perfect. Create a button, make it easy. That sort of stuff is really easy, but it really helps with the overall engagement with your emails. Just little touches like that make a big difference. You can also attach emails, attach attachments to your emails directly here as well. All right. So that's how you can customize emails, make them look better, change the content, all that fun stuff. But let's talk a little bit more about what's actually triggering the emails, how the emails are actually being sent within the campaign. And so there's a couple of different ways that you can really look at this. And I'm going to break it down in two different ways. Technically, there are three, but at launch campaigns are usually on the rarer side. Most customers need those in a very specific instance, so I generally don't cover those. Typically, you are looking at either an ongoing campaign or an in the future campaign. Those are by far and away the most popular of the two. So let's start with ongoing, which is how this campaign was originally presented. Ongoing simply means that we're going to continue to send these out based off the criteria that's within here until you tell us to stop. So it's just ongoing. Every year we'll send out the same emails. It's the data points that are triggering the emails that becomes more important. Now, most campaigns like this are going to use an anchor date, okay? Some date coming over from your management system that we can use to anchor the communications. You can see here that the campaign defaults to the customer since date, which lives at the account level. And a lot of times that is a very good way of sending emails out. And the main reason for that is because most customers have a different customer since date, which means that your campaign will likely be sending out emails evenly distributed throughout the year. So it's just a really good way to make sure you're not sending out too many emails at once. That's the best way to use the customer since date. And if you really don't have any other reason not to use it, we do recommend that you use the customer since date in campaigns like this. However, you can change this. We have multiple dates available to you. And more often than not, people tend to look at the policy level dates for campaigns like this as well. So let's say you are more interested in a personal account review campaign that is more of a pre-renewal check-in. You actually want to reach customers, let's say 60 days before they renew. Well, in that instance, you will actually want to use a policy level anchor date. And in that instance, we recommend using the next renewal date. So that is now the anchor that we're using to send the emails out. And you can adjust the timing of those emails. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to change this to 60. And then I'm going to add a little negative sign. The negative sign in our world is really what indicates something pre or something that's going to go out before. And what you'll see here visually is once I change it there, you'll see now that email has actually now gone above the anchor date, which is an easy way to easily reflect that it's going out before. So here is what this looks like now. We have 60 days before renewal. This email is going to go out. This one is set up to go out 300 days after renewal, but you could easily change that. You could maybe have a couple emails going out. So maybe maybe we do something like this. This is sort of a popular way to do it. Hey, we've got 2 emails going out, 120 and 60 days before the renewal. Or you could just have it be 1 email, again, fully customizable. But that's how this date works. Now, the question that we get most of the time when we show campaigns like this is, hey, Dave, we have customers that we know have more than one policy. Most personal customers have more than one policy. Auto, home, maybe they have some toys, an RV. So in this setting, how do you control how many emails are going out? We don't want 10 emails to go out if a customer has 10 different policies. So the system is always going to default to sending 1 per account. You can change the settings if you want to send it based on the policy, so per policy if you want to. But again, most people do not want that. They just want 1 email to go out to every customer per year. And Fuse automatically picks the policy with the highest premium. So the highest premium policy is going to be the one that triggers the emails. So again, in most personal situations, that will probably be the homeowners. But that's how that works for policy-driven emails. All right, so that's the ongoing, and again, probably the most popular of the settings here for sure. But there's also the in the future. So you can create campaigns that use an in the future event. And what that basically means is, hey, we know that there are things that are likely to occur, events that are likely to occur in the future, and we are going to use those events to actually kickstart the campaign. The event actually has to happen in order for anyone to receive any communication from the campaign. So you can click this little edit button there and you can add a trigger. And I highly recommend you do so if you want to just take a closer look at what is available. Again, just educating yourself on what is available likely is all you need to do here. You don't know what you don't know, but most people aren't aware of the various triggers that we make available. Some of them are pretty nifty, I must say. So again, you can break those down at the account level and the policy level. So probably the easiest one to wrap your head around is a new customer, right? Anyone who has never had an active policy and now suddenly has an active policy, likely a new customer, and that would trigger the new customer event. Great for welcome emails, introductory emails, things like that. The opposite can be said for the lost customer. Hey, someone who's had active policies and now suddenly they don't have any active policies. Well, they are likely a lost customer. So you can have an email, sequence triggered based off of that. Again, at the policy level, we have a few of these as well. This one is a really juicy one. I really like this one. So existing customers, they add a policy. Maybe they're auto, they add a home. Maybe they're home and auto, they add a life insurance policy. They've likely dealt with an individual directly with your agency, probably had a pretty good experience in doing so. So this one in particular is a great one to use if you're looking for additional feedback, additional Google reviews, that sort of thing. Policy premium change. This is a doozy. We love this one and we wish more people used it. So, hey, can I track how much a policy is actually increased or decreased? And can I trigger communications based off of that? So in the heart of our hard market, right? Hey, can I trigger any policy premium that's going up 50%? Maybe that's an external communication directly to the customer. Maybe that is an internal communication to one of a staff member on my staff or the account rep or the producer directly. But hey, can we get in front of this in some way? That is a great use of an in the future trigger, highly recommended. If you have claims, again, some of the management systems that we work with do not offer claims as a data point, but some do. AMS 360, Hawksoft are of note there. So if you see claims on this list, it means you can use it. But again, no-brainer recommendation. Get an email out to any customer when a claim is filed. Even though you might not have any control over it, it's always nice to hear from somebody because you know that something negative has likely occurred when someone files a claim, and just getting an email saying, hey, I'm sorry that you had to file a claim. Let me know how I can help. I mean, it's that sort of stuff that makes a huge difference. When we talk about engagement and retention, those are the types of things that your customers are going to remember, and you're going to more easily be able to keep them because of it. Okay. All right, so that's all I'm going to cover on the automation side of the campaign. But I did mention that we are able to use Fuze to send one-off communications. So we call those broadcasts. And I want to be very clear, because campaigns really are designed to send out stuff in the future. Campaigns are not designed really to send stuff same day. So just understand that, hey, if you have something you got to get out immediately, you have there's a snowstorm and you guys aren't going to be in the office that day, or, oh, shoot, it's Memorial Day and we forgot to send out an email to our customers. Don't even think about a campaign. Just come in here and send off a one-time broadcast. I love this. And again, highly recommend it for those types of communications. Up on the top right, you can click send and then send email. And you can always create content from scratch. If you have confidence in your writing, go ahead. But in this day and age, most people tend to rely on the AI component of things. So if you're a ChatGPT user, we highly recommend using our First Draft AI content tool. So in other words, we can use this tool to create content directly within Fuze. Again, it's a game changer and a half. So if you just want to come in here, select a basic purpose, say, please create an out of office message for Memorial Day. We're going to give it a short length. We're going to keep it casual, but direct, and we're going to click generate. So most people use this as at least a starting off point. I have to admit that in most cases, I generally fix it up a little bit, but we'll use 80 to 90% of what it gives me. But it's a fabulous tool, and in very much in the insurance knowledge base. So you can see here that it automatically adds it to my email template. It also adds the merge fields automatically, which I really like. We can click use, and then it applies that directly into my message. So this is a broadcast message. Important to note with any emails, whether they come from campaigns or broadcasts, you can actually choose who's sending those. Do you want those to come from a specific employee? Do you want them to come from the account producer, the account rep on the account, things like that? And then choose your audience, and then you can send it through. So again, all sorts of great uses for sending out broadcasts as one-time messages. But again, definitely understand the difference and know that that is available as an option for you. All right, we're under the marketing tab on the left-hand side, and I'm going to click the form center. So just note that you can create forms directly in Fuze. Our forms are fully customizable, but again, we have many forms available directly from our content library. So let me just click on one of our forms here to kind of show you what you can do. So in this case, this is a personal quote form. You can come in here. Here's a name, email, phone number, but you can click edit and you can customize that form directly. You can add any fields that you want. If if you need a VIN number for auto forms, if you want to create a specific form for homeowners intakes, that sort of thing. You can go at it and fully customize that for your customers here. Okay. We have the marketing calendar. So this is the last item on the marketing menu here. But the marketing calendar is going to give you quite an intriguing visual of how many communications are actually being sent per day. And really, when I start getting questions from customers about, I feel like I'm sending too much. I don't want to bombard my clients. I want to take it easy. A lot of times I can just pull up the marketing calendar and I can show most customers that, hey, you're actually not bombarding your customers at all. There's actually a lot more room for sending communications. But you can see here that you can filter by specific campaigns. You can filter by week or by month if you'd like, and it color codes the type of communication. So you can see that your quick starts, your broadcasts, your custom campaigns, and it will show you literally everything that's going out on a specific day. All right, we are going to talk a little bit about the reputation dashboard, and ultimately this comes down to what we call our NPS campaign. So this is the NPS dashboard. NPS stands for a non-public survey, or the Net Promoter Score. I've heard it defined both ways. But the most important thing to remember here is that if you pop open the NPS dashboard and there is nothing in it, it is likely because you are not using the campaign. So nothing wrong with it. It just means you haven't used that specific campaign, because the data from this specific dashboard is tied to a specific campaign within Fuse. Probably second on my list of the most recommended campaigns. So if you're not using it, highly recommend you do so. Here are a couple quick things that I can share. Number one, the NPS is basically feedback from surveys. So you're actually trying to get internal feedback from your customers, and it's based on a score that they can give you from that survey. 10 at the high end, 0 at the low end. The NPS dashboard calculates all that feedback, presents it to you in a 6-month average. And what you can do with those scores is tremendous. Number one, maybe the most important thing is it acts as a way to keep things internal, right? So if somebody is not having a great experience, maybe they're upset because their premium went up and you don't have a lot of control over that. Well, isn't it nice to get that 2 negative score on an internal survey versus it ending up on a public-facing Google review? But still, most of the time when people use these types of things and give you feedback, it's overwhelmingly positive. So what do you do with that? Can you use them in other marketing collateral? Can you use them as testimonials on your website? Things like that. But it's also a good and very easy way to turn negative experiences around. Someone gives you maybe a passive score, maybe they give you a 2 or a 3, they give you some critical feedback, you can give them a call, talk through the issue. In most cases, you can turn, things around for customers. And again, customers actually appreciate that kind of attention. You can also try to get more Google reviews from customers as well through this. So all sorts of great ways to utilize the NPS campaign. Again, if you're not currently using it, highly, highly recommend you do so. Okay, we're going to focus in on the Outbox. And the Outbox is a tool that you can disable or enable. Most people have it enabled. But I do find, especially for newer customers, that they aren't necessarily using it in the most effective way. And I just want to impart a few best practices when it comes to our Outbox. So number one, what is it? The Outbox is, think about it as a safety net that sort of sits at the bottom of your Fuse account. It captures communications before they are sent, allowing you to edit, make changes, or even delete communications. Okay. Ultimately, it's here because bad data or dirty data likely exists in any customer database, or maybe there's an instance where Fuse might be misinterpreting data. Maybe Fuse thinks someone is a new customer when in fact they're actually an older existing customer. Or maybe you just don't want certain customers to get certain emails. Maybe you have a lost customer that you are perfectly fine with keeping lost and never having them aboard again. So it's just a way for you to control certain communications. With that said, it keeps the emails in the Outbox for 7 days. If you do not do anything with the emails after 7 days, the emails will just be sent. So emails are just being delayed in here in the Outbox if you're not actively attending to them. So recommendation number one, make sure that you have someone on your staff that is designated to review the Outbox. Doesn't necessarily have to be every day, but multiple times a week is definitely what we recommend. Take a look at the Outbox, what's in there, Is the data look good? Do I need to cancel anything? Just ongoing maintenance and review. If you don't have anyone designated to review it, you might as well just disable it, because all you're really doing is delaying emails by 7 days. And then the second recommendation, and maybe the more important recommendation, is that not all campaigns are equal when it comes to the outbox. There are many campaigns in which you do not want to delay those. Birthday emails especially. You might as well just not send an email to somebody if you're going to send it late. Late birthday emails are likely worse than not sending anything at all. But birthdays, holiday messages, NPS requests, Google review requests. These are the types of things that don't likely need the outbox on, and you don't want to run the risk of delaying them. So I'll show you here in a second how you can go and you can actually control which campaigns to have the outbox on for and which campaigns to have it off for. But that's my 2 cents on the outbox. I mentioned previously that business texting is an add-on, and we actually have a separate training video on business texting available on the website. So if you are interested more about that, take a look for that video for sure. And then we have Pipeline. Pipeline is a really robust and incredible tool that comes with your Fuse subscription. So it's not an add-on. Everyone has this available to use. But Pipeline is a little different than most of the other features that I've really shared so far. And that is because it is really about lead management and the journey that those leads are taken on through your agency. So, sales funnel is another way that this is described. But you can create a journey within the pipeline. And it is very much about the manual intervention of, hey, I've got some cold leads. Has anybody contacted them? Have we sent a quote? Where is this lead at within the journey, and how can we have better oversight into that within our agency? That's what Pipeline is all about. There's a lot to it, and there's a lot of really cool features with it. I probably won't have time to scratch the surface, but if you have any questions about Pipeline, just let us know. But generally speaking, within Pipeline, you can do a couple of quick things here. Number one, you can fully customize pipelines, meaning you can have as many different pipelines as you want. You can see here that I have about 8 or 9 that I use to show people. And those could be maybe new business pipelines, cross-sell pipelines. Maybe you have one for servicing customers. Maybe you have a personal new business versus a commercial new business. But you can further customize the pipelines if you'd like. You can add different stages to the pipeline. And more importantly, you can click Manage Pipeline here, and you can actually add automation steps to this, meaning, hey, I've got a specific stage. Anytime a customer is labeled as quote delivered, I know I've got some emails triggered to go out that are going to be automated every time somebody's in that stage. So ultimately, it's a great way to follow up with customers along that journey, or potential customers, I should say, and relying on the automation to do in doing so. Really good for making sure prospects are not falling through the cracks, for sure. There is extensive reporting available with Pipeline as well. This is manager level reporting where you can track potential revenue, won revenue, lost revenue. You can take a look at specific agents and how they're performing, specific pipelines, things like that. And then we have a really cool dashboard called My Day, which really helps individuals track what progress they have made on their pipeline any given day. Given that, especially if you have multiple pipelines working, there could be a substantial amount of work. I got to follow up with these leads. I got to move these leads to another stage. And My Day dashboard is a really easy way to track that and make it easy. So again, I don't have a lot of time to go into any more depth on the pipeline itself, but just let us know if you have any questions about that for sure. All right, that really covers the menu here on the left-hand side. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to cover the settings. So up on the top right, you can click all settings up there. And that's going to give you the individual settings for your account. And here are just a few things I always like to highlight. So number one, even though your email theme is likely already set up at this point, always like to point out that you can further make edits and further customize it. So you can see that there's a color palette, basic artistic recommendation. If you've got a specific color in your logo, maybe you have multiple colors, you want to make sure that you're matching those colors directly with hex codes. I know it's kind of obnoxious. I've got this strawberry here, but you can see that it's the same red in the background. It's the same fluorescent green highlight. Little touches like that make an enormous difference. Users, most customers will eventually have to come in here and add a user or maybe remove a user. But again, if you have a new employee coming in, you want that employee to have access to Fuse. Maybe that you want access to the pipeline, things like that. You have to add them as a user, and then you can give them admin access. So what that means is there's an account role attached to every user, and we make it pretty easy on you guys. You're either one or the other. So a manager role is admin access, full admin access. You can see everything, any conversations, but an agent will have more limited access. They will only be able to see conversations or accounts that they are specifically assigned to or participating in. All right, the outbox. I mentioned before that you can actually disable outbox for certain campaigns. Again, things like birthdays, holidays, Google review requests, those are things that you want to get out very quickly. The outbox is probably not a good idea for those sorts of campaigns. But again, for any campaigns where data is more of a consideration, cross sells, new customers, lost customers, things like that, outbox is recommended. And then finally, there is a system integrations page. Now your AMS is likely already integrated with Fuse, but it's certainly worth checking. Again, this all comes down to who is designated within your agency that sort of takes a look at this sort of stuff, monitors it, especially if you are with Epic or EasyLinks and you're sending us over those reports as a CSV. Always take a look at least once a week. Come in here, take a look, because additional actions may be required of you. You can always go up to the top right. There's this little bell icon. It's our alert system. If that's red, that means there's something there that you really need to do. Maybe you have an employee that needs to be mapped. Maybe there's a couple of line status codes that weren't on the last report, but now are on this report. And Fuse will not know what to do with those unless you tell us what to do. So again, Epic, EasyLinks, if you're a report-based integration, absolutely make sure someone is designated to look at this section, again, at least once a week. AMS 360, Hawksoft, always a good idea to keep an eye on it, but you will likely not have those same issues. All right, up on the top right, we got this little chat icon up here. And here is where you can get in touch with our great client experience team. If you have questions about anything, again, try the AI. Some people are afraid of the AI, and I get it. But in the world we live in, everyone's got it. But you can likely get a lot of questions answered. Again, questions that are specific to your situation. Our AI tool knows exactly what data you have available. So if your question is data specific, or, hey, how does this work with my AMS? Try the AI widget. Like you'll be surprised at the kind of information that it will give you. But if you would rather talk to an old-fashioned human being, go ahead and email us or give us a call. We have a really thorough help center where you can, again, get articles on all sorts of different things, especially related to specific management systems. And then you can take a look at our other training videos as well. So I want to thank you so much for your time. Again, if I didn't address something or if I didn't go into the detail that you were hoping for, please let us know. ask AI, give us a call. We're here to help. Thank you so much for your time and for being really great customers of Agency Revolution. Take care.